Throughout Crime and Punishment, Dostoevsky gives quite a brilliant insight into what guilt really is. He essentially proposes the question of guilt like this: do people feel guilt because they've done something wrong, or because they've been caught by their conscience? Through the novel's protagonist, he develops a very clear answer. Raskolnikov, the protagonist, commits murder, and for a long time gets away with it. No one sees it, no evidence proves it, and the law can't touch him. And yet, almost immediately, his life begins to collapse. He becomes extremely paranoid, physically ill, unable to connect with people, and unable to think clearly. And not simply because he's afraid of prison, but because he can't escape himself. He essentially becomes haunted by every interaction. Every interaction becomes a constant reminder. And what Dostoevsky is showing is that punishment does not wait for the courtroom. It begins the minute Raskolnikov tries to live with an image of himself that no longer fits. He thought that the crime would prove something, that he was above ordinary moral limits, that he could decide who lives and who dies. But instead, this overwhelming guilt comes from discovering the opposite, that he is not the person he believed himself to be. And that is the key insight that Dostoevsky ultimately keeps returning to. Guilt is not simply fear of consequences. It is the mind rejecting a version of yourself that it no longer recognizes. It's the shock of seeing who you are capable of being. And that is ultimately why Raskolnikov's confession matters so much in the novel. Not because it reduces the sentence, but because it ends the psychological fragmentation. It essentially reunites the self. So here's the ultimate question that I leave you to think about. So do you believe that guilt is a societal force, or the self ultimately refusing to lie to itself?